Hi everybody, it's Alex Gray. Here you will see only the most interesting news in the world. So let's begin. Partial mobilization, what is called in Russia, has been announced. A decree has been signed. The initiator was Ministry of Defense. Mobilization began at September 21st. Citizens who are currently in reserve and those who have completed military service are subject to a conscription. Russians called up for military service on mobilization will receive the status of contract servicemen. They will be paid the same as military contract employees. But that's not really a lot of money, but we will talk about that later. There are only 3 grounds for dismissal. Reaching the age limit of military service, it's from 50 to 65 depending on the rank. Health status, a court sentence for imprisonment. It is called partial, but in reality it's general mobilization. The decree does not give any details of mobilization, formulated as broadly as possible. The president leaves discretion for the Minister of Defense. In fact, the Minister of Defense of Russian Federation will decide who, from, where, and in what quantity to send to war. The mechanism will be as follows. The Minister of Defense will form quotas for mobilization for each region of Russia. The governors will be responsible for the execution. First of all, reservists will receive mobilization orders. These are men who are served in army and who have signed a contract to stay in the reserve. Minister of Defense set a bar of 300,000 people. If more is needed, the decree allows the mobilization of unlimited number of conscripts. Right now, partial mobilization is a rather conventional name. The distinction between partial and full mobilization is not spelled out in the law. It is used only in order not to put the country into the full mobilization mode, but in fact in a wartime situation. In short, Minister of Defense acknowledged the loss of 5,937 Russian soldiers, while stating that 100,000 Ukrainian soldiers were destroyed. He said that special operation is going according to the plan, which is why it's necessary to call 300,000 Russian citizens to service in order to send them to Ukraine to fight. There are also questions about 300,000 people, because the 7th point is missing from the official mobilization order. They said that 7th point is classified and open only for official use, but the item refers to the number of mobilized. We can add 2 plus 2. Minister of Defense exaggerated the Ukrainian losses and he downplayed the Russian losses. At the same time, he called to figure 300,000 mobilized. The 7th point is classified and the conclusion is that sooner or later the most Russians will go to war. No one can control how many people were called. All this information is classified. This is the information of Ministry of Defense only have access to. We could only watch the internet, the videos on internet, and how many people were called. Only the officials will have this information. So there can be 300,000 or there could be 1 million. We will still don't know how much. We can only assume that they will use a lot of people. We don't have the real information about the Russian losses, but the Ukrainian side tells us that they lost about 60,000 people dead and 90,000 injured. So 150,000 losses in Russian army. And it's clear why they are calling 300,000, because they lost 150, so they need more, twice more, though this is why 300,000. So the information about that Russian forces lost 5,900, it's okay, of course it's lie, it's false information, because if the Russian army is 200,000 people, and they lost about 5,000 people, so and gain so much territory and have success as they said, but we see that they are losing all the success right now. Why they need 300,000 more if with the 200,000 they killed so much Ukrainian soldiers? Of course, it's a big lie, as always in that Russian government tells the Russian people and the whole world. We also don't know about the losses of Ukrainian army. So we only have information from Russian Ministry of Defense. They said that Ukraine lost about 61,000 people dead and 49,000 injured. But we know that this is not true. There can be no such number, because there always injured are more than dead. If this information is true, the Russian army is so effective that they only kill, they don't injure people, only kill. This is false. This is not how war works. Only there are always twice more injured people, or even more. So, like Ukrainians said, that Russia lost about 100,000 people injured and 60,000 dead. This is more real information. And in this regard of Russian mobilization, that they summon 300,000 people, we can assume that this information is real, and they really lost about 150,000 soldiers. Sometime later we will know the real information about the losses of Russia, of Ukraine, and subscribe to the channel and look for the new videos every day. In the comments under the Minister of Defense speech about the losses, people ask a logical question. If you have practically no losses, about 6,000 people, and Ukraine has already lost half of its army, then why the heck we should mobilize and call 300,000 people? The State Duma will consider the introduction of the concepts of mobilization, martial law, and wartime into the criminal code. The amendments introduce several new articles of the criminal code at once, in particular looting and surrender. For surrender, soldier will face from 3 to 10 years in prison. For looting, up to 15 years in prison. Aggravating circumstances will include the commission of crimes during the period of mobilization or martial law in wartime. The punishment for unauthorized abandonment of a military unit during the period of mobilization and martial law is being tightened, up to 10 years in a colony, depending on the time of the absence. Refusal to execute an order, conduct or participate in hostilities will be punishable by imprisonment for a term of 2 to 3 years. So they prepared for the citizens that are mobilized to the war right now, that they will not follow the orders and go into surrender, so they apply these laws about a lot of years of prison for everything, for surrender, for not following. So this is how they prepare the citizens, that they should do everything that the government said, and they cannot refuse that. They want all people of Russia to be submissive and follow everything that the government said, from how to live, how to fight in the war, how to follow not the orders. Oh, it's so bad. People don't have their own will at all, and if they will just go to the prison. But there are some consequences. If they give a lot of weapon to the regular people, for example, in the group of 300 people that were just citizens before, and now they have a commander and about 10 officers, they could easily defeat the commander and the officers, because there is a lot of regular people, and the 10 officers is not a power for 300 men with a weapon. So they dare to give citizens a weapon. I don't know, will it be the consequences that some people will refuse to fight with Ukraine and go against Russia with all that weapons? But it will be very interesting if that happened. And I think that Ukraine will support these people and help them to go to Russia. The referendum on the entry of Zaporozhye region, Lugansk and Donetsk region into Russia will be held from September 23rd to 27. No one will accept the referendum. We already see that USA, Europe, all the countries in NATO and in other countries across the world will not accept the referendum, and they already said about that. What Putin is counting for, we don't know. We can assume that Putin is doing that referendum to connect these territories to Russian Federation, and the reason is that Putin is threatened with a nuclear weapon, because you could use nuclear weapon only in two cases: if someone has used the nuclear weapon to your country, and when there is substantial damage and to your country, and then you can use that to defend yourself. So he could want to connect these territories to Russian Federation in order to able to use nuclear weapon to defend. But that would be very bad, because if he used that against Ukraine, the NATO will see that he is using the nuclear weapon, and they don't agree with that territories, that they are Russian, and they could use that weapon against Russia. And of course, when the rockets are launched, no one knows where they are heading to. And of course, they need to destroy all that places with nuclear weapons. And this will be a really start of the nuclear war. No one wants that, and I don't really think that Putin will do that. That is only the threatening by the weapon, and it's not real that he would use that. Because he already said about the red lines that if you will cross this red line, if you attack the territory in the Crimea, we will do something really terrible. But as we see, they already done that. They crossed all the red lines, and Putin will have done nothing against. And all this is a false. In reality, he has no power to resist the Ukraine with all that weapons, with all the support of a lot of countries around the world. We see that so much countries support Ukraine. And how many countries support Russia? North Korea, Syria, and Eritrea in Africa, of course. So, how much countries support Ukraine? About 50 or 80 countries. And how much of them support by weapon, by money? About 50 countries. And how can one country resist the power of all other countries? It's not real. So the defeat of Russian Federation in that war is inevitable. The only way that he could do is just stop attacking, return back to its territories, and start negotiations only after he stopped fighting and return all the forces back. But after he decided to announce the referendum to connect these territories to Russia, he has no right to come back, and decided that he will give everything back to Ukraine. No, how he could do that in front of the all Russian population? He before said that everything is going according to the plan. We connecting these territories and these people, that population of Russia will grow up to 5 to 8 million. He will look like a coward and like a very weak person, and he will lose his president place in Russia after that. There can be no stronger pest for Russia than Putin. He is really destroying this country, destroying the economy, and I don't know how people will live the next 5 or 10 years. We are going to the past. We see that market is losing a lot of companies, a lot of money, a lot of workplaces. Where is he heading to? He can destroy the whole country for one wish to connect these territories, to show his strength, to show how powerful he could rip apart the near country and take the people and territories for him. And people who don't want to serve in the Russian army as mobilized. All borders are packed with queues, all tickets are sold, prices are sky high. People are going everywhere from the Russia to Belarus, to Turkey, Kazakhstan, even Mongolia. There was no such good time for Mongolia tours than right now. People are going as tourists to Mongolia. and the people who are running those tours became billionaires thanks to that mobilization, and people just running through the borders to Mongolia, because there's not so much country where you can go without the visa. And all the planes that are flying there, there's no tickets at all right now, and the prices are really the sky high. So you could buy, for Russia, the prices is really high. You could buy the plane ticket to Kazakhstan, and the cost of it is it's about $10,000, or from $8,000 to $10,000 right now, if you want to buy it for tomorrow or this day. And this is an enormous amount of money, because salary in Russia is about $200 or $300 a month. I don't know. Only the rich people could fly away right now. The people who are not rich are going by cars, by trains, to the borders. But in my opinion, in the nearest future, Russian government will just close the borders for all men that is under the mobilization, under this age, under these conditions for mobilization. So who could run right now? They are really running as fast as they can. But those who don't have money, what they can do, they can only hide from the military enlistment offices, because they don't have money to go to in other countries. They need money not only to go there, but to live there for some time. I don't know what they can do right there. They go there, they order the hotel, somewhere to live, and how much they will wait there. They don't have visa to go in other countries. They cannot ask for asylum in that country. This is a really poor countries. And some countries will not give asylum for them because they are friends of Russia, like Kazakhstan, because Kazakhstan is some kind of friend for Russia, and they will not, and Belarus, they will not let these people for asylum because of the mobilization. It's not the reason for the asylum. So most of the people just stay there, and they have to hide or just go to the military enlistment office and go to the mobilization, and they think that they will do something there in Ukraine, near the Ukraine, to surrender, to go to hide somewhere, or they just hope that they will not suffer any injuries, and they will work somewhere far from the front of the fights. They will just support something like the technique, the vehicles, cook food, something different. There's a lot of different professions in army. Not every one of them are fighting, are shooting. So watch my channel and you will know what will happen next. Hit the like, subscribe for more, comment down below what you think about that, share it with your friends. This was Alex Gray, and goodbye.